Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy second or fair chance. We want to be accurate in our terminologies. Let me move this down so you guys can see the screen. Fair Chance Month. We are super excited to have all of you guys here today. I know it's spring break for some. I know some of our partners are not in the room today, but we're still excited to have a good sized room here this morning. But we have probably about 12 people on Zoom with us. So for our Zoom folks, can we wave to them? Hello, Zoom land, right? So we're excited for that. Juan, can you help me with that? Just admit some of those folks. If you can be my admin for now. All right. So as we get started this morning, we have, I wouldn't say a packed agenda, but an opportunity for us to really dig in on second chance employment opportunities. My name is Seyi. I work with JPMorgan Chase. I'm a VP of Community Development at Chase, and I'm here locally in the Mercer County area. My office is in Rolon, Trenton, so I'm local and doing the work. I'm super excited for what we've been doing here over the last while. Our first roundtable was exactly a year ago. And so we keep on making new milestones and taking steps towards advancing the cause of those who have been formerly incarcerated and giving them an opportunity to be fully integrated into the communities that we serve. There are some of you guys here that are returning citizens that are doing great work. We want to acknowledge those in the room this morning as well. That we're not all just, we come from different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we're passionate about this work and making the lives of justice impacted individuals better. And so again, thank you so much for coming here and being part of this. I have another quick announcement or maybe a public announcement that at our last meeting, members meeting in March, we voted in our officials or officers, of the coalition, and so we're super excited about that. I'll mention some of the names really quickly. We have myself as the chairperson. I have my amazing friend here and colleague, Jeannette Rizk. Jeannette, you want to stand up and do some activity? Jeannette Rizk, our co-chair. We have our fearless leader here, Juan Rolon, as our co-vice chair. And we all know Jeannette Porter. I think she's online as well right now. We want to give her some love. Jeannette Porter's our co-vice chair.
Good morning.
And then we have Maya George from Homefront, who's also our secretary. And then we have our good friend Sean Ford from Task as our co-secretary. And Dr. Chelsea is actually not here today, but I believe she has a representative online as well. And she was voted in as our treasurer. So we're making strides. And so we're excited for those things. And again, I want to thank all of you guys that are members, existing members, new members. You make this run because of the will in this room to make a difference in our community. That is what makes this coalition such a powerful thing. So we want to thank you all for being here with us today. So we're going to jump really quickly into jump a little bit into organizational introductions and give us an opportunity to be able to kind of hear who's in the room. This is a rapid session, so we'll have some more opportunities at the end to really kind of help us, network and get through and connect with each other here. So we're going to start here and we're going to go around the room. Just introduce yourself, your name, your organization. If you have any pertinent announcements, please give it to us as well, and we'll go around the room quickly. Okay, thank you.
It's Rob McCain, Trenton One Stop Career Center.
My daughter,
Launch Energy, the local partnership.
So board for their solution of workforce development.
Brandon Turkman.
Sean Hack, instructor academic specialist for CCC, the hub.
Lisa Summer, the type of thing that they're trying to do. Karen Nolan, Mark Mercado, and the founder of Symposium there. The Darwin worker of giving this and to our maybe the gentleman in the corner and then.
Mark Luciano with Jesus Ministries, and I volunteered to work with
Ed Green, young audiences of New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania are writing about.
Everybody takes that for something.
Making our way.
Okay,
What's that?
so I guess I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm Susan Rauscher, I'm the Deputy Director of Programs, and Employment Services at the One Stop Center, for the Office of Mercer County Office of Training.
My name's Kirsten Blair. I'm with Lambda Data. And we, as you guys know, have a software platform and app. It's actually being used now at Workwell.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see of the cohort 28, and then as they now graduated using it, and now just this past Monday, we're there to be part of the kickoff of the cohort 29. So love to talk with all of you, and Jeannette had said I could say a couple words at this point, just that we would be happy to talk with any of you as to how this software platform app integrate with your programs to really equip the participants with different milestones, resources, text messages, various communication with your staff and mentors. And it really ties into what we're talking about today in terms of the employment and the other ways that people can thrive as they return back to the community. My colleague Kevin is on Zoom there waiting. And I want to shout out to Ed Green, who first introduced us to this wonderful, Mercer County Reentry Coalition. Morning, Melissa Chapecki. Their Department of Office of Diversity Programs. I appreciate it. Hi, Carla Donegan from the New Jersey Higher Education Assistant to Learning.
I only sort of housing, police management, so this is.
What was partnership in training?
Juan, Rolon, Executive Director of the Empowerment House.
Janet Porter, City of Trenton, Office of Returning Citizens.
Who else do we have online?
Megan Blair from New Jersey Hospital Association.
Megan Blair.
Megan Blair.
Yes.
Alexis Jenkins from Work Mentoring.
Alexis Jenkins from Work Mentoring.
Yes.
Kevin McLaren from Lambda Data.
Can you repeat that, please?
Kevin McLaren from Lambda Data.
Kevin McLaren from Lambda Data.
Julia West Johnson from Mercer County Community College.
Julia West Johnson from Mercer County Community College.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. We have Jeannette Porter on? Probably on the phone.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yes, I'm present. Janet Porter's present. City of Trenton Office of Returning Citizens. Thank you.
Jeannette Porter's City of Trenton.
Anyone else?
Lenny's on as well.
Can you hear me?
Lenny as well, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Dr. Michael Mims, New Jersey Hospital Association.
New Jersey Hospital Association.
That is correct, sir.
That's how you said.
Eli Villas, Brookdale Community College, Jobs Program. Can you repeat that? Eli Villas, Brookdale Community College, Jobs Program.
Eli?
Eli Villas.
Right. Okay. Thank you all for being here today. Oh, we have some new. Can you introduce yourself? I'm sorry. You wanted to escape, right? I know. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Good morning, this is my first time.
Welcome.
But my name is Dr. Jeannette. I am the director of the new and beautiful wellness center here at the Restoration where we can community health services. I have a flyer that I would love to leave with you all and connect and
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry. All right, welcome as well.
I was just met from Trenton Microloan Collaborative. We have no interest loans to returning citizens.
Awesome. Welcome. We have someone else that's slipped in the back as well. You're not gonna escape this morning.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Incarcerated individuals and whether they're working on their DPP or they're doing a school for college or in school for trades. We come alongside of them to help them reach their education.
Can we have someone else that joined us as well? Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome, sir. Anybody else? All right. I think we have everybody in the room right now. Thank you all so much for taking that time. We do have some water, some granola bars. If you want to grab some of that, it's a little bit warm outside today, so please definitely hydrate and do that. Feel free to get up and do that at any time. We're going to pivot now to.
And if you want water, I can
Yeah, if you want water real quick, I guess you can do that. A little quick water break. Quick water break.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for having to be online. However, we can hardly hear you. So I don't know if you could speak a little louder. I appreciate that.
This is for the discussion.
Good. All right. Can you guys all hear us on Zoom? Is that better?
Yes, much better. Thank
Yes,
you.
it is.
Okay, better. Okay.
Yes, it
That's
is.
what we're
Thank you.
doing.
That's a
Thank
lot
you.
better. Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. All right, no problem. Yeah. Let's bring it back.
Like this right here is exactly. Sometimes it's not needed, but I look at it as Saturdays you don't have it.
No, yes. Not that, perfect. But, no, it's not good. How's that near? I just wanted to, I mean, we do not know, it's practical, so
All right. Okay. The tables are a little bit, yeah, they're a little wobbly there. Okay. NCRC updates. I'm going to bring up Juan Rolon to help us with this section. We're going to be looking at the MCRC Symposium feedback and updates. We're taking a little bit of look at our NCRC communication update as well as the community on this one. So, Juan, you have the floor. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, I just want to feel the energy. I always want to like to feel the energy in the room. First of all, good morning. Thank you all for taking your time out today. Like Mr. Ola said, this is our second chance month, and I am a recipient of that 20-something years ago. I'm grateful, to my God that He put me in a position to be able to be here with you today. And again, this is a beautiful sight for me to know that you guys are still, investing in us. There's a lot of individuals that need that. So, I thank you guys too for allowing us to be in the room today. So, continue on, right? Because we need y'all, right? So today I'm going to go over the symposium survey results. We will definitely be encouraging every last individual in here to attend. Right? It's going to be June 13th at 9 o'clock to 12 at Dempster Fire Company. That's located in Lawrence. It's not too far from us. All right, and some of the topics that are going to be discussed in the conference, we're going to start off with welcoming and opening remarks. It's going to be a host-led introduction. We're going to go right into the Beyond Burnout, Finding Joy and Purpose in the Work, which is a very important piece, right? Because I love what I do. Outside of this, I am a drug and alcohol counselor. I do this on a professional level and as a nonprofit, and I feel like I never go to work. I'm always loving the situation, and this is a very important piece to find joy in the purpose that we do that can avoid burnouts, but at the same time, keep the faith, keep the hope, instilled not only in your work, but also in the people that we serve. Why you matter, the ripple effects of your work, that is a very important piece. I think I just spoke a side note with Mr. Seyi today about the One-Stop Center. The One-Stop Center actually gave me my first job 25 years ago, and the ripple effect is this. And it's giving it back to you guys. Again, I'm giving you flowers, right? So, it works, man. It works, and we appreciate the work that you guys are doing. We're going to have a morning break and networking refreshments. I know there's going to be a couple organizations such as the Empowerment House that's going to be helping with the sponsorship on that. We are looking for any sponsorships on that, but we are, stepping up to the plate as one of the organizations to help sponsor that refreshment, because I believe that, and that wrong with feeding people, right? Yes, no? All right. From there, we're going to go into the navigating the system, but we're going to hold off, right? We're going to hold off on the legal, housing, and financial resources for now. That's something we're table for right now, but it's definitely something we're going to consider, right? Next week, then we're going to go into gratitude and action, impact testimonies. I like that. I would definitely like to be more a part of that situation. Also, refueling the fire, leading with the heart, and reentry, right? Avoiding burnouts, learning how to do mindfulness, self-care, et cetera, right? What we have, if in front of you today, we have, I'm not a decorator, but we do have some white square sheets in front of you. What we like for you guys to do is to share your thoughts, any words of encouragement or any direction on what these questions asking for. So again, this is an in-the-room situation assignment. We will glad everybody to participate in this. So the first question we're going to ask is, what benefits do you anticipate gaining from attending this symposium, based off all the topics that were just identified? So I'm going to take a couple minutes and answer these questions. They would be very appreciated.
Do you guys all have pens? We don't. We have some pens at the table.
Yes. If not, I got some in my pocket. Who needs some?
Came prepared.
The next one is, out of all the topics that were listed at this moment, what section stands out to you? Like, which one that actually either you can identify with, would like to know more about, or you feel that is important when it comes to the reentry population and the services that we're networking and serving. All right. The other one is, what other thoughts do you have about the symposium? I believe that Mr. Rolon and Jeannette created this situation not only for just them, but for us as an organization, as a community, right? We would like to hear your voices. We would like to know your insight, because this is a membership situation. We can't do it alone, and we're encouraging everybody. What's going on, my brother? Hold on, I want to pause. Let's introduce yourself, my brother. Yes. Yes. That's what we're looking for here at the coalition is to, invite individuals that we believe that can actually do the work. I actually met the fellow last week, right? You never know who we can meet and bring to the table. We encourage all that to happen within the Mercer County Reentry Coalition. But again, we cannot do this alone. Am I correct, Mr. Rolon?
Can we ask the people on Zoom too, if they want to put that in the chat? Their
Yes.
questions? Yeah.
Yes. So, people in the chat, again, all we're asking is that you respond to what applies to you of the questions. Number one is, what benefits do you anticipate gaining from attending this symposium? What session stands out? What other thoughts do you have about the symposium? Any thoughts or feelings? We definitely will accept all in all. With that, this doesn't work. I got to talk to that. So with that, I will be introducing Sean and Maya up to the forefront to speak about the MCRC communication updates. All right, so this is where you're going to speak.
Okay, great. I'll do the Slack for this. All right, you got to bear with me. These allergies are whipping my butt today. So a few points about the Slack. So if you have not joined yet on the agenda sheet that you've been given, please join. Make sure you scan the QR code. And also, that's our primary channel for all of the information we're going to be giving out about meetings, members, different events that they're going to be having. Shay and I are also in the process of making a quick 5-minute video about Slack, about how to navigate the page. So if afterwards you have any questions or anything that maybe you want to see in that video, please grab me or Shay, and we can add that to the yeah.
It's also on the agenda.
It's on the agenda sheet that everyone should have, so you can just scan that as well if you need to join, okay? All right.
And there's also QR codes on the agenda for the feedback survey, which we would like for you all to fill out. Let us know your thoughts about the roundtable and anything else that it might be asking you. And there should also be a sheet of paper for a registration form. We have to input attendance by hand, so if you guys wouldn't mind filling that out so we don't have to do that, that'd be lovely. Thank you very much. Anything else? Yeah.
Thank you for the information. Next, we will have Mercer County Career and Resource Fair Representative Ms. Susan Rauscher. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Ms. Susan, in the building? Good. You're next up, ma'am. Want to come up?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So I'm here. Kaylee is usually at these meetings, right? Because Kaylee's been part of the team we have putting together the Mercer County Career and Resource Fair that's coming up on May 7th. I believe that the flyers been distributed, so hopefully people have received it. There it is. Oh, this is, I got it. Yes, right. So just a couple things that you won't see just from the flyer. So our goal, I guess just a little background. Last year in the fall, there was like a career and resource fair that was specific to second chance hiring. But we also, the Mercer County One Stop, has our own fair that we had like a month later. So we decided to pull our efforts together, and this resource fair is for the general public, but we're also really trying to identify businesses that are engaged in second chance hiring. So in terms of businesses, we have about 60 that are registered right now. Our goal is 75. We're going to be doing a big push today or early next week. An email is going to go out with an email blast, targeted email blast to a bunch of Mercer County businesses. And so one of the questions in the registration is, do you participate in second chance hiring? And so we'll designate those businesses at the fair who have answered yes to that to help people who are coming and looking for that specifically. If anyone has a business in mind I don't have the list with me, but if there, and this is great, this list that is here, I can cross-reference and see if these businesses have registered with us. But please, I'm gonna give a handout on the one stop later, so you can write to the email address on there and just let, you know if there's a business that you think we should make sure is on the list. So right now, so it's a career and resource fair, so we can have, it's at the Cure Arena, we can have about 100 vendors, so our goal was 75 employers and about 25 resources. Where, of course, there's so many, as we know from everybody who's in this room, there's so many great resources available to people in the community. So we're good with, we have at least 25, we have some people on a waiting list to represent different resources that are in the area, but we're just looking for more businesses. And then we also have, we have about over 300 people who've registered so far. We're looking to increase that number as well, so we might do an additional email push. The county's going to do one, I think, today. And then also we talked about how it's possible, so that's based on pre-registration. People can also just come. And so we know that there will hopefully be a bunch of people who show up, you know, without pre-registering. So we expect that number to be, I think we had at our fall general career fair, we had like about 500, over 500 people who attended. So hopefully that the number 300, we'll see that increase and we'll have the number of people attending. We're also going to have expungement services available at the fair, and which I think is on our flyer. And I think that's what I was going to share about that. Does anyone have any questions at all? Oh, I can, or else because I'm talking again or later. I think that's all. Does anybody questions or anything?
How does a business register? Is it from the paper?
So if there's a business who wants to register, they can email on the flyer, I think there's an email address, but also it's possible. Did Kaylee send out, do you know, there was a link for businesses to register? Okay, yeah, so you may have already received that, but there's a separate business registration link, so I can send that out. And I think that many businesses already received that.
Yeah, I think that's it's going to be an impactful resource fair. I actually was in attendance when was it? The last time in September. It was a beautiful thing. I had a lot of good feedback. You know, you actually see individuals walking through there with hope. You know, so you know, if you guys can make it out, please come out. All resources are needed. I know hopefully we're going to be seeing the Ms. Jackie in the sanctuary. You know, she's focusing on homelessness and also helping us house individuals. So if you got anybody that are looking for housing, please see Ms. Jackie. Ms. Jackie, can you raise your hand? Please see her. She's within the city of Trenton, and she has a nice, beautiful building that I was blessed to see the other about 2 weeks ago. Beautiful building. So please, if you're looking for any of that type of stuff, please see Ms. Jackie, and those type of resources was needed as well, along with the job fair.
So you serve, I mean, everyone serves a lot of people. I don't know, maybe we can get some people to share. Oh, the other thing is, this is sort of an experiment to try to do one big fair to address the general public and justice involved individuals. If we feel like maybe this wasn't the best idea and maybe it should be separate, maybe, you know, there are all kinds of factors, as we know. I would love to have that feedback. Kaylee, you know, will of course share it, and, you know, she'd love to have that feedback. Because we're open to lots of different suggestions to help this population.
Thank you. And with that, we'll give the floor to Ms. Jeannette.
So this is a great transition into today's topic. So 2 things. I think, number one, we're so excited to co-chair and co-host this event as the Mercer County Reentry Coalition. And I think it is good to not just focus on justice-involved individuals, but have employers who are open to hiring everyone. And that's very important. Also, I don't know if some people know, we changed the topic. So initially it was second chance employment opportunities, and we changed it to fair chance employment opportunities. The words we use are important, especially in this room. And instead of focusing on the second piece, the piece there, the mistakes, maybe, or the criminal past, the criminal history, we're focusing on being fair and giving everyone the same opportunity. So that's, in terms of the language we use, fair chance is what we should be focusing on. And this is also still, we figure these things out, right? We learn what is the correct terminology to use. So moving forward with our fair chance employment opportunities, we have two very short announcements, and then we're doing it a bit different in this. We're not having a keynote speaker. We're going to open up for discussion. We have several questions we want to talk about because we have expertise in the room. The people here, you are the ones in Mercer County who work on reentry. You are the ones we need to pool our knowledge and share the knowledge. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. But I'm going to start with Briana Menjivar from Department of Labor. She's going to give a quick overview. Can you tell us about the grants that focus on training and also employment opportunities for the justice involved?
So actually, I want to talk about two programs that we have. We have the Job Opportunities for Building Success program. Oh, okay. And the Pathways to Recovery program. Both are to find a career path for our participants that we have in the program. And this program is statewide. The justice impacted individuals are provided with career services, training services, and supportive services, along with Pathways to Recovery where they're opiate impacted. So let's say you're not directly impacted by the opiate crisis, but let's say your son, your daughter, grandmother, someone has been impacted directly and that impacted you as well, you could also be eligible for the Pathways to Recovery program. So these two programs actually intertwine with each other. But focusing on the jobs program, we do have a couple of organizations that we have that have the current grant right now. And it's our second year, actually. We have serviced over 1,200 participants to date. And again, the focus is to find them a career path, and they're able to choose what type of training they want to be enrolled in. As long as it's in demand, it's on the ETPL list, and we want to really focus on giving them a purpose, a fair chance, like you say. And so the way that you can actually refer participants over to our program is, Jeannette, if it's okay with you, if I could email you our roster of participants, grantees that we have in the program. And then if you could do it the email blast, or I could also collect business cards at the end, and I can send out an email, whatever works best for everybody. At the end of the day, it's all about networking and getting the word out and spreading that we have great services that are providing throughout the state of New Jersey. Correct. Yeah, everything is funded through the Department of Labor. Right. It could even be more sometimes, right, depending on what type of training the participants are interested in. Right. And also participants work with case managers, so they have somebody every step of the way when they develop their individual employment plan. And they also have a job coach as well that guides them in the correct way and kind of follows up, hey, how's it going? How's your job going? Are you happy there? Because again, mental state is very, very important. I just want to also highlight that we're also expanding our jobs program. We're actually going to have case managers at each probation office to be there and provide services and connect them with our jobs program. So that way there's coverage everywhere. And we also are partnering with Rutgers University to have a justice impacted resource website. So that's in the works right now. We actually have a website up right now for the Pathways to Recovery program where employers can actually register and become a recovery-friendly workplace. So if anyone's interested, I could also send the link and the information because we would definitely want more organizations on our website, and we have testimonies on there. And if you want your information on there, we would actually have your organization and they would click on it and then would actually refer you right onto your website. So that would be a great way for other organizations to kind of see you as well.
Funding is amazing, but it's only amazing if we take advantage of it.
Correct.
Also, numbers matter.
Correct.
Funding is dependent on actually taking advantage of it. And we're all in this together, and we need to make it work because it will make a big difference if we need it.
That is correct, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Briana.
And Susie, back to you. So, I was gonna just take a little bit of time to talk about the services at the One Stop Center in general, not just the career fair that I talked about before. Terrell and I both are at the One Stop Center. Terrell heads up the state employees at the One Stop Center, State Employment Services, and I'm one of the, part of the leadership of the, county, of Mercer County employees that are at the, One Stop Center. Now, we also, at the One Stop, have funding that's available to send people for training. All comes from the same legislation, that Briana is talking about, the jobs program, the Pathways to Recovery program, they're all part of the, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or at least related to it. You don't really need to know all that stuff. But basically, there are a lot of avenues for people to enter into the system to get funding to further their education, and also other supportive services like resume assistance, like helping with job search. There's also, has the federal bonding program come up in here? Have you guys talked about that at all, or? No, I don't know to put you on.
No. It's okay. I'm not put me on the spot as much as you want, but the federal bonding program is more like with the letter, that a fair chance a person gets. You know, it's like an insurance policy for individuals going into employment, and normally employers are more susceptible of accepting people because they see that the individual is making an honest attempt to re-enter back into society. So, and the person that we have at our center for that is Sonia Mello, backed up by Gregory Moon. So
We need those people's names and email addresses, because is it the employer who has to contact you, or the person who wants to get a job?
no, it's the person that's looking to get the job, and normally they get the letter and like I said, it's a simple process. We just had like 3 of them this week that just got bonding letters. Now, it's whether the person is going to be successful or not, that's still trial and error as we go. So.
And the federal bonding covers part of their paycheck, is that correct?
We'll get into that later. That's.
So maybe we can have a full separate presentation on that, because that is a huge incentive for employers. Right. And if even for the fair, if we can share this information, I don't think that this is widely known, and it's something that we need to take advantage of.
Right.
It's funding that's there.
Right.
And if we don't know about it, we can't.
Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, the One Stop Center is a great place to start, because we're also aware of like all the other programs that exist in the state, and like if we think, oh, maybe we're not the best fit, but maybe they could be referred to so and so, like please anytime contact us. The other thing that I think there's no one from DVRS here, is there?
What is it stand for?
Oh, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. So every One Stop Center also has an office for the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services, and they serve people with disabilities, across the state. And when we think of disabilities, a lot of times we're thinking about, physical disabilities, but they are helping people that have mental health issues and all different kinds of stuff. And obviously we know that there's a lot of overlap here, right? With people with deficit impacted mental health, varying kinds of barriers. And so that's also a great place if you're working with someone who they need a little more support in they're trying to get a job, but they might need a job coach available to them on site, or they need they need an evaluation. There's something, but you're not totally sure. That's all stuff that can happen through the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. You connect them. Yeah, go ahead. Do you help temporary housing?
Trent Site Hospital.
So I don't work in DVR, but I think that I would think so. I would think that they could work with anybody that has some kind of disability, mental health issue. So I can. It actually wouldn't be. The woman who heads up the BDR in Mercer, her name's Leslie. And she maybe could even come and speak to some of the services that are available. Or I can ask her that specific question if you want to give me your contact information, and I can have her get back to you. But again, like Jeannette was saying, there's just so many resources available, and it can be confusing even for us who work, honestly, even for us who work in the system. Sometimes we're like, whoa, I didn't know that existed, or I didn't know that. And so we're always learning too. So I can't imagine, like, if you're coming in sort of from an agency from the outside, what, how you figure out where to start. The other overlap often is the Board of Social Services. If people who are collapsing TANF or GA, those case managers are in our building at the one stop. So a lot of times the same people have, substance impacted, so there's just a lot of overlap with people that we serve. I have a handout here that kind of lists some of the services available at the one stop, so I can put them out front, or I can kind of pass them around if people want to take them. And I think you guys were going to send.
You can send it.
I sent it to you. Yeah, they can send. I sent an electronic copy.
And that would have a point, because as you said, there's so many services. So what we need is a point person or some place to start.
Right. So there's a general email address on here, which is otes@mercercounty.org, which stands for Office of Training and Employment Services, and that's sort of our catch-all email that person can forward it along to the person that's. But of course, if you have specific questions, I'm happy to be. I'm not. For this group, not to be disseminated, to all the public, but I'm happy to give the questions to answer.
So do you recommend that we enroll all our clients or participants in one stop when they first come to us? Is that useful?
I think it really is case by case. It depends on
if they're looking for employment.
Right. Yes. If they're looking for employment, then absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If they're not there yet, then you might want to start with some other resources, but, yes, absolutely.
The one-stop center has a lot of resources involved, like Susan was saying before, like she works at it with Mercer County Training of Employment Services. And my job is more so with the employment services side, but there's other connections in there as well, like if a person wants to go for a GED, that's not necessarily going for it. They've gotten their high school diploma or GED. It depends, like she said, it's case by case basis and what the person's looking for. They may not be looking for specifically employment services.
And so you have funding to cover the cost for a GED?
That's the learning program that's within the building.
Okay.
So, and then like I said, the federal bonding, like I have the information and all, it covers like the first 6 months. It's like a $5,000 grant that covers the first 6 months of employment. But like I said, I can talk more about that at another meeting because I don't want to steal the thunder.
Please.
So, it's all right. So, but that is a very good program.
The other piece is that for individuals who are specifically between the ages of 16 and 24, there's a youth program, and being justice involved is like as long as they're not in school right now, is an automatic qualifier. They would be accepted into the program, and that opens up doors to pretty good case management, like having a mentor, a one-on-one relationship with the case manager in our office, as well as like paid internship opportunities. Where the business doesn't have to put anything out, we just partner with them, and the county pays through the WIOA funding. So there's just a lot of really good opportunities out there. The other thing I just thought of is related to the career fair, but also unrelated. Haley was mentioning a lot of people who are justice involved are interested in starting their own businesses, which obviously, for anybody, even if you don't have barriers, that's can be an overwhelming thought. And Mercer County has, through the Small Business Association or Administration, there's grant funding available for people who are interested in doing that. And so
to help them get started.
To help them get started, there's services to help them create a business plan. There's a lot of resources available for that too. And as a matter of fact, they're really trying to target just the justice involved populations and the population and the caps on the funding are higher for people if you have a background. They're trying, they want to say, we understand your barriers are even, greater, so let's expand that. You could get a little bit more money. And again, like that is not handled directly by my office, but I can get more information for this group. We're going to have someone at the career fair who can talk more to that as well. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'd like to ask a question.
Please don't apologize when you're asking a question. I'm happy to be here.
Do you help people that's at risk of having a background? Yes.
We don't turn anyone away that comes to this.
And what age was that? 16 to 24 specifically.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any, there's no, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Carmen over there, from, NJDOL, when I started in workforce development, we worked together, we following my, internal dialogue right now.
So thank you for all these great resources, and please take advantage of them. Everyone now has it, and we will also send it out in Slack so that you have it as a digital form and can share it with other organizations also. So we are running tight on time because, as you see in your agenda, we are not going to go a full 2 hours. We want to stop in about half an hour and give time for networking. You realize that how important that is to have time to get to know others and exchange business cards, information. So for the next half an hour, if we can focus on, I had 6 questions, but even if I just want to, the first 3, maybe 4, to get some input from the room and get a discussion going, and then we will break for networking. Oh, yes, and online, if you want to contribute, Shay is sitting at the laptop and you can put in your contributions in the chat. So on this topic of fair chance employment, we would like to know your experience in working with fair chance employment in Mercer County. Does it exist? Do you feel like that is a thing? Do you have employers you know that are open to working with you directly? Let's start with that. Let's put that out in the room.
The big problem that I think we find is that there are a lot of employers out there that say that they're second chance employers because it's pretty good PR, and then the follow through is not so great. They don't. There's something that disqualifies the applicant from getting a job, and you must have somebody control. There's never an opportunity for someone to say their narrative, or it's always like a third party background check that the hirer does not have any control over.
Well, stop at one, but you go.
Have others had similar experiences?
Hiring managers, so they're not always aware of the process. Sometimes they're not even aware if even like the difference between the hiring manager and what the manager wants. And then I've had situations where people have been hired and then the HR comes back and they're like, I don't want to hire someone that has that little background. And it's been like this complete disconnect through the entire process. And yeah, that happens. So a lot of times, you hear like, yeah, we're second chance, but it's usually just a certain type of thing that happened, and that's a certain type of thing in their background that's accepted, and everything else is not accepted. So
That's very discouraging.
yeah, happens all the time.
That's happened a number of times.
Yeah,
Where they're like, the worst part is they're like 2 weeks into the job.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, this person is so great. And then they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, you no longer have this job.
yeah. I have a situation where someone he got it after months of working and trying to find him work, got him work. He was in the job for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then the HR manager came back, and then they were like, I don't want to hire this person because of this background, and then they got fired because of that. So yeah, that happened.
That could be a situation where the federal bonding could give leverage, like if you went back and were like, hey, use this program, would you be more comfortable if the person had this like quote unquote insurance policy? I don't know.
I agree, and then but the issue too is like it seems like it's also a personal reason,
Right.
because of that background.
We also have the experience that the background check came back and the manager said, you are my best person on this workforce, and yet I cannot keep you. And he has to let this person go, it's out of his hands, and the other person who was hired at the same time, not nearly as good, gets to keep the job. So this, it really is a very unfair situation. And it's easy for the employer to say, sorry, it's out of my hands, it's a third party doing the review. And that's really why we're in the room right now, because we need to discuss how can we change this? How is, and we're jumping ahead to the last question. Ban the box is wonderful, and it's a great step in the right direction. That it's, in New Jersey, you cannot ask about someone's incarceration history when they first get the job. But if when the background check comes back, you still don't get the job, then what difference does it make? So it's the first step. It's a very important. I'm not saying we shouldn't have banned the box. I think it's important, but how do we follow up, and how can we work with employers to explain to them what it means to be a fair chance hiring? Because it's not just ban the box that's part of that. So we need to have the talk, and this goes back also to legislation. Like, how can we change? We work with big employers, and I'm going to put names in the room because I think it's important for us to know which employers. Like we have had with Wayfair, it's gone both ways. Wayfair has hired a lot of our participants who graduate from our program, but then they also don't tell us what they're screening for in the third party. So if we knew, we could have who we send to them.
A lot of times they don't know. Like the people that are doing the recruiting don't know what the corporate office allows and disallows. And sometimes they don't even know because it's done by a third party. So it's just like, there's no clarity. And then we're trying to give people hope that they can, have a better life. And it's like, no, I don't know. Good luck.
They also need to consider some of the impact of their policies. I think that unqualified.
Hold on 1 second. We allowed you to speak next now. 1 second. Make sure you heard me.
For the ability to work in the center, they have to cover by the insurance. The insurance company is the person that who essentially does the background and holds that hostage to the employer. So what I mean to say is, let's say an employer wants to do this, puts them on their insurance. The next time they go to renew their insurance, magically the insurance is more money, right? Because they found a loophole into it. It's legislation. I mean, and we're back to what's allowable and what's not, right? As me, I would let anyone through, but this varies. Abandoning the box somewhat helps, but still, there's sometimes it's okay, and even with the background checks, I've seen sometimes they catch it, sometimes they don't. There's strange variation.
We have someone online. Would you like to state your name and your comment, please?
Hi, this is Julia from the college, and I'm thinking that, perhaps employers need to look at their hiring policies and see the impact it has on disqualifying individuals with any type of a record. I also believe they have to sort of focus on skills and potential. And then perhaps they need to partner with organizations such as Around the Room here that can come in and do some other types of resourcing for them to support them while they're in the job. So I think that, that support system of on-the-job mentoring is really important, but I think hiring them, they have to come up with looking at the whole person, not just what they did 10, 15 years ago, but where they are right now. That's really important, I think.
I approve that message.
And I think that's our role. So maybe we need to have one. And that's the question, like, how can we reach employers? How can we organize an event where we educate employers about? Because just to put some other numbers out there, about 77 million people in the US have a record. That means that 77 people have difficulty obtaining employment. And in Mercer County, I'm terrible with numbers, but I think it's around 4 people with a record, over 27% unemployment. And it's probably even higher than that. So that's really what we're focusing on and what we need to find. We need to find a solution in Mercer County.
And maybe you
I'm Briana.
and Rizk here. I recently stopped by Lowe's to find out what some of the barriers returning citizens were facing. And what the manager said is that they don't even check the background in the store. They're using a third party. So we're waiting to get the third party's information to get more background on what it is that they're looking for, what are they disqualifying. All she could tell me was that only traffic violations were things they were accepting. But we don't know more than that at this point.
Kind of fair chance.
Point
That's-
one.
yeah.
And Lowe's is on the list. Lowe's is on the list. Second time around.
We just had somebody dismissed from Home Depot.
Got someone on the phone?
Terry.
Hi, everyone. Charlie Wise from Mercer County. I have a couple suggestions. I think what we ought to do is probably pull a forum or a seminar with the Princeton Regional Chamber of Commerce. I think
Yes.
they need to hear, because it's their members who are the employers who are probably using these third-party systems that will screen out our potential candidates. But also, I think we should tap into the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center at TCNJ. That's what you're talking about, Susan. They have a program that will walk you through the process of creating your own business. And they're fantastic. And I think that is another angle we should think about too. Because we should try to help folks start their own businesses, because the constant process of applying for jobs and getting rejected, when in fact, if we could get them started early and creating their own business, might be part of the solution too. So the two pieces, the Princeton Regional and the SBDC. Okay.
Take two more, right? Audrey?
Yeah, then I wanna, make sure people online wants to respond as well. Go ahead.
I agree with you about the employers having a forum with some large employers and small employers, bringing them together to talk about what we're trying to do would be helpful. Because I know that the chamber did a while ago some type of a seminar related to this population, and I don't know how well it was received or what happened, but I do think working with employers is very important, especially the employers if we want to look at our hiring in this region.
Thank you. Can you state your name?
Julia West Johnson, Mercer County Community College.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Morgan Wilson from Peter Green Program. Is part of the other thing that we need to understand, and I will disclose that I'm just as impacted and I went through this until I got hired, is how far back does the background check go? Because it doesn't go back until the day you were born. It goes back X number of years. But at the same time, an employer will say to you, have you ever been convicted? So the background check may come back crystal clean because it's, you've been home because it's not from the day you went home. It's from the day you were convicted. So if your conviction is like over, shall we say, 7 years old, it's not going to show up on the background check. However, because you have to say, yes, I was convicted, because you don't want to be accused of lying, you wind up disqualifying yourself. So it's not so much ban the box, it's when the box comes into play. Because the box comes into play right when you're getting that provisional job offer. I can't speak for anyone else, but I went through 35 job interviews. I have a master's in criminal justice. I went through 35 job interviews. I focused on reentry, nonprofits, and I didn't get hired until PD Green, because PD Green doesn't do a background check. Because they said that we're a hypocrite if we background check the community we're serving. So it's understanding how far back that background check goes, and talking to employers who say that question needs to be removed. Because if it's after the background check goes back, it shouldn't be in play. So it's the two things. Because there were times when the background check came back clean, but I self-disclosed because I don't want to get fired for lying. So it's that double prong, and it's almost like you just can't win.
Thank you. Well, we can clap it up if y'all want. Clap it up. Definitely. Thank you.
I need to add a little piece to that, and that is that the background check may go back 7 years or whatever. However, if an individual is on parole
it comes up when they do the background check. So I had a conviction in 1980s, but my check still comes back hot because I'm on parole. And so that issue of being on parole puts you right there as a red flag, irregardless of when the conviction was. In addition, if they don't do that part, they'll do a credit check. This is what they name it. And the credit check exposes the reality that you have no credit whatsoever, or there's a giant gap in your history. And that exposes you, and then they dig a little deeper, then they just, brush you aside because they don't want to deal with the legalities of all that.
So, really quickly, you guys all have this paper in front of you. What this is, I see guys do my work for JP Morgan Chase, and if you don't know anything about JP Morgan Chase, outside of a Fortune, making Fortune 500 companies out there, they take it very seriously. Anybody that knows anything about it, Jamie Dimon, our CEO, takes it very seriously. We have a whole department that JP Morgan is dedicated to this work. And so with that, one of the things that Jamie Dimon did was say, I'm going to go to Fortune 500 companies across the country and say, are you justice impact friendly? And then he started a coalition for second chance business coalition. And this list is basically the companies that said yes, and it's a total list. But here's a point that is made though here earlier in the room. There's usually a divide between corporate and regional management. So you have commitments made at a corporate level, but it doesn't filter down to the hiring managers at a local level. And there's no buy-in from that. And one of the things that this coalition is doing for those who are on this list is to educate their corporate, as well as their middle management, and as well as their local store managers in these different areas. One of the things we just had a quick breakthrough in earlier this week was I reached out to JP Morgan Chase to say, can we get a representative from this coalition to come to speak to us and to speak to potential employers? So if we're going to get in front of Princeton Chamber to say, what are the things that you can do? Because if you go to this particular website, you'll find kits for HR, talking about the legal implications of your hire. So there's a lot of different reasons why they don't want to hire, or maybe they're apprehensive about hiring. So if you're dealing with a third-party HR company that just automatically red flags people, how do you deal with that? How do you create policies within your corporation without breaking the bank? And this coalition does that. The highlighted businesses on here are the local businesses we have in Mercer County on this list. I mean, there are obviously other businesses that are not on this list that are, impacted friendly. But for this, one of the things we've been doing is actually going in to those particular businesses and say, look, your organization is on this list. What can we do to help you take the step in the right direction to make that commitment is made at a corporate level a reality at a local level? So that's part of the advocacy in my role at JP Morgan Chase the Webmaker. You say, I'm going to JP Morgan Chase and say, okay, you got this organization, you join your coalition. How do we help us? How can we make Mercer County a test point that for which we can maybe begin to address some of the issues at a large level? So probably sometime in the fall, we're going to have someone from a representative from here to come and speak to us. And I think one of the things we ask ourselves is maybe thinking through some of us in this room that are really passionate. I think all of us are passionate about this, right? But to say, how do we get in front of the Princeton Chamber? When we first had our first meeting in October of 2023, this is the first thing that came up. How do we get in front of the employers in the county that they say maybe they want to do, maybe they're apprehensive, maybe they said they're interested in it, but they don't know what the next step to take. And how do we make this case a business case, not an emotional case, a business case to them, why they need to hire, and how we can help them scale those hurdles that we see when they go through the process. So that's our commitment here to do that.
Good stuff.
I believe that the chamber has a job fair coming up. Terry, do you know about this? They have their own job fair.
They do.
And if we could get ourselves ready and attend it with the information and just literally go to the employers and say, this is what we do, and have accommodations.
They do, in fact, maybe it's 1 month, especially on the phone. That's higher, I think.
A lot about the job fair coming up, and I was talking to a few of the organizations in the front. I think it's really wise to sign up and table. I think tabling is free.
Okay.
I think it's wise to sign up and table, get to talk to the other employers in the room and build some kind of working relationship. That's where you need that.
Volunteers for the table.
This is,
People think about it, let us know, send us a message. It would be good to have a critical mass of members at this table.
Would there be a way of having some material presented, even just some basics on some of these issues that have come up, like in a positive way, or maybe some studies?
Yeah, we
That,
I think,
we have a plethora of those, yeah.
yeah, so, but in other words, at the
table, yeah,
table and spread out, like if other people have tables,
We can share our
everybody can have that as part of their table.
Yeah.
June 3rd.
I heard what Shay, I'm sorry,
Hold on one second, ma'am.
okay.
Ryder, is that Ryder from 1 to 5? We should probably put it in Slack.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
We have someone online. Go ahead, man, you can resume with your comment.
This is Julia again. I love what you said about employers because many of them do not know, you know, the justice systems, the biases that they have and all those things. So maybe I love the idea of having business come together, but maybe have a business person that has hired, you know, justice impacted students and have them be one of our speakers so that this person is speaking to his audience of business people because it's business to business talking, and then having the idea of you know, one of our agencies be sort of a lead agency to help employers in our county if they're having problems or they're having concerns, being like the social worker, if you will, something to that effect. But I do think we've got to engage employers in a different way, because there's a lot of things that they don't know, and they have a lot of biases, and there's divides, and creating a successful approach is going to be what we need if we're going to be successful in having people be hired.
Thank you, thank you.
And is this something that One Stop can also help with, just being educating employees?
I was thinking that because we attend a lot of these different fairs. So yes, that's, and maybe, whatever, materials you have, we should have at our,
The federal bond rate, we can.
Right,
material on
yeah.
that.
Because this organization, like when I was trying to figure out what language to put in our flyer, I came across this business organization, and they had just great, like you were saying, like, making an economic argument for why this is the right choice, which I suppose if you're in the business world, that speaks to you.
That speaks to you more.
Yeah, so,
And employers want to hire, we have the people who need to be hired,
Right,
so
right.
we should talk.
What I'm hearing is employees, they do want to hire the people, but due to corporate not teaching their people the rules and regulations that corporate put in place, that the people can't get hired or they get fired as soon as they get a job. So I'm just you probably been doing it. I have no clue if you have or not. No, I'm not throwing no shade or anything. So me personally, I would go higher than like corporate, because corporate put in place. They probably just put it here so their business can look good, but not following through with the programs that they put in place. And it leaves the Bank of America, Best Buy, it leaves them in a dilemma when they hiring the people, and then they go back and they say, well, you can't stay because of a felony or something that you have on your record. So corporate really needs, I think I heard somebody say this, corporate really needs to come down off their high horse and teach their employees, or we need to put in place, bring corporate to the table
and let them know this is what's happening when you said that your company will help face the people that need a job.
So hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable.
And one employer I do want to highlight, one of the major employers in Mercer County is Capital Health. They do a lot for this community, and they say that they want to support this community, but yet we have struggled so much to place people. They put our graduates through a 3-month hiring process, provisionally offered the job, and then in the end rescinded it because of the background check, and we do not know what it is.
That's very sad.
And it's very, we attended a chamber event and spoke to the CAO, and he had nothing to say about it. He didn't think that was an issue, and that's even more frustrating, when they say they do something and they don't.
I think also, like, with stuff like that, there's so many parties involved, so like, the licensure to become a CNA, like, the hospital may want to hire them, but then the state board of nursing doesn't allow, so then you have like,
Yeah,
but I know there are a lot of other,
I definitely
job
agree
opportunities.
that they can't place them in maybe,
Clinical breaks,
patient-facing,
there's some-
jobs, but there's so many jobs in the hospital. They always tell us it's like a village. Every job you have in a village, you have in a hospital. So I
didn't mean to,
No, I totally agree. The argument they would use.
Can't have anything.
And like cosmetology is also another one, like, you can't, it's like, come on.
A little bit about what you said is the frustrating part. Again, I work with the Social Justice Program, and at my Social Justice Program, we go from 13 to 26. And we connect with One Stop to do summer programs, some youth jobs, which is great. But the issue we're having is not just employment with somebody, it's underemployment. So understand that I have participants that just came home working hard, have to work 2 jobs just to maintain, and I'm trying to convince him to now take a step back to get whatever training or anything you need to get a real, a better paying job. And what if you do all that work and then they get there and get hired and then get fired, and now how can I convince this young man to, take a leap and a chance to be able to get a better employment job so he can get certifications and all the other guidelines, and something may happen and they kick back? Because again, we see this list and we sat there and looked at closed on this list, and I won the issue. So we have to find out a way, and that's one of the issues I'm having with trying to, while I'm here, to see how we can actually find ways to help not only underemployed, but underemployed as well, because unfortunately, they just get any job that they can actually get. And good luck, that's not good enough to actually sustain and save and get ahead and prosper. And that's what's making them, sometimes go right back to, where they came from.
And that leads to recidivism, and that's exactly why this is so important.
Right.
Because without a good conscience, you cannot ask them to leave their job if you don't know what this employer is going to do. So we need to work with those employers, and then eventually, one day you can say, you can guarantee a job with that employer. That's where we need to, our goal needs to be. So just real quick, we have about 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry.
So,
I just want to say something, if you don't mind. I heard you say that how do you get them to stay on a job, don't quit the job, let them make the higher step in life, get the training and stuff they need and whatnot. Have we ever considered that it's just not that they need a job and stuff? Have we ever considered that they probably need counseling, mental health, and stuff like that? Have we ever considered that? I don't know. This is my first time. That's what I'm saying. Because sometimes they want to give up because of situations at home, little statements, past life, childhood trauma, stuff like that. Have we ever considered offering that?
Yes.
Answer me, please. So I won't go, I will not go, but I think that is the group, right? And I think that's the important that want to consider, like, that's where we would like to help, right? We would like to give them those resources, give that counseling, give them the therapeutic support, help them process that trauma, sit down as they are going through you offering the training. They need to kind of process what they did. The experience at prison, the experience of losing people. Like, you can't sustain yourself if you are still constantly thinking about the heart. And what you've also done to others, that is also traumatic, right? What you've seen, and I think
we have to address that for them to be able to sustain themselves in the workplace, right? Even to encourage them to want to work, to want to be stable, to not want to return, to change, with something we call in therapy, I have a master's in clinical counseling. And one thing we call that I love working with is CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, reframing the mind. And we have that has to be the focus point. So my thought back, collaborating with the wellness center, let us take care of that. Send everybody to us. All of our services are free. And then we will streamline it to you all to get them ready for training, you know, get them ready to love themselves, their families. If they are, you know, ex-abusers or people who have abused, let us help them process that. So they're not angry, you know, and, Juan is a great group, you know, so let's continue to collaborate. Again, please see me. I would love to solve that issue. The name of your organization? Rescue Mission, we're called the Pathway to Wellness. All of our conferences are totally free for the community 18 and up. As far as nothing.
Good stuff. We have one more question, or we wrapping it up? We're good?
These programs of hiring returning citizens in these big companies and having it just be window dressing, make them look good without taking any action. I think we need to share that story more widely through possibly the press. And and contacting politicians to bring this up rather than trying to go to the CEOs who seem to be just shutting it down.
Good stuff, good stuff.
So one of the things that we've been talking, one of the people we've been talking to is Assemblyman Anthony Borelli, who obviously has proposals to reentry bills that have gone through, and he's very big on employment. And one of our pleas to him a year ago was, how do we get legislation involved in putting pressure? Some of these who are getting tax credit, right? How do we make sure that we're holding them accountable to those things that they've committed themselves to? And I think it's got to be a four-pronged approach. It can't just be focused on legislation, but that grassroots pressure is important as well, because sometimes organizations are acting in bad will, some are acting in good will, thinking that the policies that they put in at the top is not really impacting people. So accountability, part of that is holding people to the facts at the moment. Your organization is not hiring anyone, right? And you're on this list. How do we make that happen? Right, so that positive reinforcement, not get pushed back, we want to gaslight, there's other things we can do. The press is part of that as well. And I think taking that holistic approach is important. And we can solve this issue. This is one of the main focus for us in this coalition. When we came together a year and a half ago, I got involved. You might wonder, what is JP Morgan Chase doing in the reentry stuff? Because this is that important. I'm passionate about this because I see so many people get gaslight by organizations that tell them, we hire people. To your point, window dressing, but nothing is happening. So we want to find out, is it because your system is broken or you're really just not about that reality? So but we have to kind of press into that and give us your feedback on this, because we don't want to just this conversation to end in this room today. On the feedback QR code, let us know how we can move forward with this. Terry brought us a really good point. How do we take the next step in front of getting in front of that fair? Having those documentations in front of us, let's become evangelists for this cause, and really get it in front of people. That's how we're going to begin to change minds and get it. If Lowe's, for instance, can start hiring people at a good rate, that's one organization and corporation that is saying, I'm going to step up and do that. But if we can get more people in our local market, I think that matters a lot as well. But it takes all of us to do it.
So we will be sending out a to-do list, and we summarized, you actually gave a good takeaway and next steps. So it's not just a conversation, we have action steps coming out of this conversation. So we will work on all the levels to educate, hold people accountable, go to the press, attend events, and then together we will measure and see some changes happening, because we need to get people employed at the end of the day. This is part of work well, this is what we do, and we really struggle doing it because the employers are not easy to work with. Just at the end, Paula, correct me, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So Thank you all. Any last questions or inputs?
I just want to say one quick thing. So I do expungement, and obviously that takes one barrier away from people, but ironically, so I work in 3 counties, Union, Middlesex, and Mercer County, and this county is the only one that has this type of coalition. And ironically, this is the county where expungements take the longest. So I think that's maybe if someone has a connection in the prosecutor's office, you can speak to someone. I think there was a lady here at the last meeting, the last in-person one. I don't think she's here today. And I had to run out that day, so I didn't get a chance.
Come on, Alicia.
I'm right here. There was another way. I don't know if I name them. Was that? Yeah. Do you work in the prosecutor's office?
So I'm working with the county in something percent that provides for free fingerprint systems. Talked about you guys earlier that had issues. So we're working on it. We're meeting with the prosecutor's office in the next maybe a month to talk about how to make the petition move quicker, especially those ones that are slowly broken down. Broke the petitions up into categories. For example, a dismissals only petition, which is just arrest. Those should be able to move quickly because there are no convictions on that record. If they could push those through like super quick, we sit together with them and we do it in one afternoon. And then the next list will be clean slate petitions, which are, you need 10 years between the last time you were involved in the justice system and the day you filed a petition. Those should be quick to get through as well, because it's like one rule. Has it been 10 years? Are there any non-expungable convictions on the record? So we're working on trying to move quickly with them. Yeah.
So just to compare, Middlesex and Union County take 2 to 3 months, and Mercer County takes more than a year to review.
That's the big.
So, I just want to bring up, Alicia and I are working on that expungement program. It's, we pay for all the expenses. Brochures are over there. There's a QR code if you know anyone that would like to, participate in this program. Last month, Alicia and I met the county executive, and this goes back to the prosecutor's office and why, yes, it is taking far too long. We have 482 people participate in the program. 332 qualify for an expungement, but it's not moved since the petition was entered. We're sitting here, we know 70 individuals who've been out of the system for well over 10 years, qualify for a full slate, still sitting there. We got 28 other individuals with dismissals. They were only arrested, not charged, still sitting there. That should have been removed, right? So we're meeting with the prosecutor's office to sit down and say, look, you have got 333 from us and every other organization that's doing expungement, NAACP, Salvation and Social Justice. We've got hundreds of applications or petitions in, and they're just sitting. So I agree.
Coincidentally, I was at an event last year, and I happened to be speaking to someone, and I told him what my job was. He said, oh, I actually worked at the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office as an intern during law school, and I explained to him that it takes like more than a year. And he told me, like, honestly, they just tell us, like, if we have nothing else to do, then we can look at expungement. Otherwise, we're looking at other things. So I think they're just sitting there. These expungements are just sitting there. They don't care. Yeah.
Accountability.
Wow, accountability is drastic. So putting pressure, and it's us who have to put the pressure. So that's another, we'll add it to the list.
There is a new prosecutor.
All right, so at this time, I'd like to say thank you all. This is the end of the presentation and the topics for today. We definitely want to give time for organizations to network. I think this is a good piece of the time to definitely connect. Again, we can't do it alone. If you don't know who the neighbors is, please, before you leave, know who they are. Got any business cards, this is the time. If you have yet to sign up or download the Slack app, please do so now. It's going to be loaded with a lot of information. All right.
Photos. We want to take a quick photo.
And for those that would like to support the movement of the Mercer County Reentry Coalition, please say hola about how to become a member. If you haven't gotten that information yet, it's on the paper. And if it's okay, if you would like to take a group photo, is that okay with everyone? It's not mandated.
all groups to speak with that device. That's good. Mulberry, last name is Mulberry. Jan Mulberry.